Hi everyone, welcome back to my second video on presentation skills. So this is part 2. If you haven't watched the part 1 of presentation skills already, please go back and review that video first because you will know the first 5 tips that I've shared with you when it comes to improving your presentation skills. You can apply to endless scenarios. You can apply to interviews. You can apply to national conferences. You can apply to patient focus groups. You can apply that to your team meetings. You can apply that to talking in parties with friends and family. Okay. It's all about confidence. The more you practice, the better you get at it, is my tip for today. Practice, practice, practice. Doesn't matter where you are. Practice at work, practice in your personal life, in your parties. Be out there and start talking publicly. That's how you increase your confidence, and that's how it comes naturally to you. So, before we dive into the real stuff, subscribe to my channel, Priya Physio, and click the bell icon so you'd get live updates of when my videos are posted next. In the previous video, we covered content structure, audience awareness, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and use of visual aids. And today we are going to focus on engagement and interaction, handling questions and feedback, time management, confidence and enthusiasm, and storytelling and emotional connection. Why is engagement important? It tells you three things. Number one, your message is clear. Number two, your audience are following you. Okay. And number three, you can gauge the understanding of the audience. That's why engagement and interaction is equally important when it comes to presentation skills. Number one is ask questions for interaction. Now you might ask me, Priya, but you said in the first part, if you want to keep questions towards the end, how can we ask questions in between? Because that's going to digress us, distract us from the main presentation. No, it isn't. It depends on what type of question and interaction you are asking. If it is a question, a simple interaction of, do you agree with what I say? Do you resonate with me? Okay. Say yes and raise your hands. They'll raise their hands. Okay. If they're in a team meeting, MS Teams meeting, just ask them to raise their hands or nod. Okay. Or give a thumbs up. That shows interaction. Okay. So that's why you ask. Number two, use case studies. Always helps in presentation. Use case studies if you have. That brings the whole presentation to life because they can relate to what you're saying. Especially, I don't know how many of you have watched Chartered Society of Physiotherapists' new tool, which is Alice's Story, where you can take it to your commissioners to influence them on rehabilitation services. Or you can even take it to your MPs and show them the power of rehabilitation. Okay, it takes them through that. It makes them walk in Alice's shoes. If you don't have those tools, doesn't matter. You can actually use a case study from your workplace, a case study from your personal life, and bring that presentation to life. And next is encourage feedback and discussion. When you present that case study, make sure you seek feedback from them. Encourage discussion. You don't want to distract people in your own presentation, especially in conferences. We can't, there are some limitations to what type of presentation it is, but wherever possible, encourage feedback and discussion. Always take feedback, both positive and negative, and take it seriously, especially if it's a negative one that helps you improve. So instead of blaming, it helps you with improving. That's what I would say. Lessons learned. Lessons learned. Okay. After engagement and interaction, let's focus on handling questions and feedback. Okay. This is the next step. How do you handle questions and feedback? By actively listening, two ears, one mouth for one reason. Yeah. So that we can hear more, listen more than we talk. Clarify or paraphrase the question so you are clear what you're going to answer on, and respond calmly. You don't have to rush. Nobody's going to test your knowledge when they're asking you questions. They're asking questions because they're curious, and they're asking you questions because you are the presenter. A presenter need not have all answers. It's how you respond and what you answer matters. There could be a panel out there who can take one of those questions, so you can always ask for help. Okay, but always be calm when it comes to handling questions. Active listening, paraphrasing, and responding calmly. Eighth tip is time management. How do you manage your time in a presentation? Now, every presentation, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a seminar, whether it's a lecture, whether it's interview presentation, whether it's a focus group presentation, no matter what you're doing, you will be given a time slot. And you have to ensure that you respect that time slot. Time is something that people don't have, and also, on the contrary, they take it for granted. You're not going to take anybody's time for granted. You have been given 20 minutes or 10 minutes. Make sure you deliver your presentation effectively in 10 minutes. No matter how much information you want to share, bring it down to 10 minutes. That's the key, and that's why time management is important. So, first thing we're going to cover in time management is practice. The more you practice, the better you are at your presentation. So, that for that connection, practice is important, but that connection is equally important. Prioritize key points and allow time for Q&A. Now let me describe all 3 points in one. Say for example, you have 5 minutes to deliver your interview presentation. Make sure you ask the interview panel, or you can have your own timer ready with you and set the timer and let them know that you're going to have the timer ready so you can deliver your presentation in time. That shows you have effective time management skills. Okay, simple things like this interviewers pick on. Or you can even ask them, do you mind to keep time and give me a nudge 1 minute before the time is up? And they're happy to do that. As soon as you know there is 1 minute left and you still have a lot to cover, you would whiz through your presentation and prioritize key points before you end your presentation. That's why time management is important. Allowing time for Q&A. If Q&A time is not included in your presentation, well and good, you can finish your presentation in 5 minutes and you can then go for Q&A. But always ask. Don't assume. Always ask if Q&A is included in the presentation time, then you have to allow some time for question and answers. And prioritizing key points, equally important, summarize it. None of the tips are saying that you digress from your structure of content, which is introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay, so always remember that. That's why it was the first point in presentation skills. We've covered a lot on confidence and enthusiasm, but I'll cover it again because it's an important aspect of presentation. Body language and voice. Let's go back to rule of communication again. The rule of communication says we have 3 aspects that you focus on. What are those 3 aspects? Let me know in comment section now. Okay, what are the 3 aspects in rule of communication? So when it comes to confidence and enthusiasm in presentation, your body language and voice plays an important role. When I talk about body language, it's your posture. We've covered that in communication skills here. Non-verbal communication. Okay, all these form your body language, the way you present yourself. You need to be tall with your spine erect. Otherwise, if your posture is stooped and slouched and you're not maintaining eye contact, that confidence, enthusiasm is gone in a click. Okay, so don't waste that time. Make sure you can be confident even if you don't have knowledge. Okay, you're there, you have that authority in your room, and that needs to be shown when you're presenting, even for a simple team meeting. So always remember that your confidence and enthusiasm shows the more you show it. Okay, and finally, last point is storytelling and emotional connection. Okay, so engaging, how you can do that? Engaging stories, emotional connections is equal to retention, and audience relate more to more on a personal level. What do I mean by all this? Always use engaging stories in your presentation, or you can even start your presentation with an engaging story. Stories always connect people, they can relate, and that's why as soon as you build that emotional connection with your story, it is likely that the information that you're going to deliver is going to be retained. Okay, lastly, audience always relate on a personal level. I have seen this live in action when I was out there in one of the local authority meetings. Okay, the moment, and it was a meeting for public, I was there as a professional, but it was open for public. The moment somebody used example of their mom or dad being transported in an ambulance, it just brought everyone back in the room. They were talking on different things, but the moment somebody related to their own personal story, everybody has mom and dad. Okay, everybody can, or uncle aunties who need that particular transport, who've been in ambulance before, they can relate to that situation immediately. Okay, that's why it's important to bring engaging stories. If you don't, now let's say, take an example, if you don't have an engaging story, what can you do then? Look at Any other stories? It could be something that happened while you were coming to work today. Okay, it could be on public transport. It could be a story or something that's going on in media at the minute. Use that experience of somebody, use that experience and use that, make it an engaging story. This in itself could form, like, I don't know how many sessions it would take to talk on storytelling and emotional connection. But for the limits of this video, I'm going to end here with storytelling. But if you want to see a live action of what a storytelling is and how you can connect with people naturally, okay, I deliver weekly webinars, free webinars on physio leadership. Come and attend one of my webinars, and you will see the power of storytelling and how I bring everything back to relate with every single person that's in the room. So your storytelling can be a very powerful tool. The link for those webinars is in the description. So make sure you register for the webinar so you get a Zoom link. So that's it for now. So we have covered presentation skills and I've shared with you tips on presentation skills. Let me know in comments if these were helpful. Share it with your colleagues, like this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell icon because my videos are going to be regular and I'm going to touch on an important skill, an important strategy that's required for physios to lead. Stay tuned for my videos and bye bye for now.